ich wollte ja damals, als ich jung war, Kunst studieren.
When I was young, I wanted to study art. I even won a scholarship at a small exhibition, but I couldn't pursue it for family reasons. So I decided to set up a company with a friend instead. And that was the beginning of Interroll. Creating a company is a form of art too, isn't it? The world of management isn't easy. We are an international corporation now, with 27 branches across the world, and a workforce of 1,300. It takes some organizing. You have to manage it, bring in new products, do marketing and so on. All that involves creativity and innovation, and looking at it from that perspective, I have enjoyed it. Although time and again I've felt drawn to art and intended to go back to it at some point. Fortunately, I don't have to make a living from art. Otherwise, I might feel under pressure from the outside. That means I am free, very free. I can evolve and do things I really enjoy, and that fun and enjoyment is important to me. The abstract is what comes from inside, what I create myself. Today, I make products that have never existed before. I don't make the same picture twice. I prefer to make something new, something creative, something the world has never seen before. Once I paint an artwork, next time I do something different. And then I sensed at the beginning that it is very difficult to paint abstract subjects. Yes, I also wanted to find a structure that is always recognizable, and that I found with my segment style. So producing something that works as a whole. After all, the entire result must have an effect, not just a single point. I think that's great. I use these segments, segment art, which has now practically become my trademark. But because it looks good, it's practical, and because it breaks up the picture and produces an interesting effect. So I call this style segment art. Furthermore, I developed a special technique. Instead of mixing the colors beforehand, I apply one layer on top of another on a wet white background. It's like the television, where you only have RGB, red, green and blue, and yet you still see all the colors. And here you also get the strokes from the palette knife with individual colors, but you see them all as red or orange, and they look really bright. I've lived in Switzerland for over 20 years. I feel I belong to Switzerland and the Ticino, and I'm happy here. The natural surroundings of the countryside in the Ticino are truly magnificent. I experience something new every day, even when I'm here in my studio. Of course, I don't spend all my time in the studio. I'm outside too, and I meet a lot of people. Contact with other people is important. If you take a sketch of this size, even if the picture is 2 meters by 2 meters, you see the whole thing. It's important to see what effect the whole picture has. Then you can scan it into the computer. I've already scanned in around 800, and look at them on the screen, project them onto the wall, and see how a picture would look in those colors and with that structure. Of course, that gives you lots of options. So even if you are not feeling inspired to paint anything in particular, you can look through all your sketches on the computer and maybe find something you can pick out. Then at some point, I got the idea of trying to draw something out of the canvas itself, so I experimented with acrylic and epoxy resin and other materials. I found that epoxy makes the canvas or glass fabric so stable that it just stays the way it is. Although the individual sections hang down or bend in a pretty wild fashion, they are actually very firm and stable. That way, you can go with a 2-dimensional picture into the space. Naturally, this creates entirely new perspectives. If you look at one of these pictures from the front and then from the side, the impression is completely different. That vivid 3-dimensional effect on the viewer is amazing, isn't it? I'm a big fan of placing objects right in the middle of the room. That's why I also made these sculptures that you can just place in the space. Or you can turn them upside down, or turn them around. It creates a hiatus in the room, and I like that. More recently, and quite by chance, I came across the idea of using light effects in my pictures.
Bilder und in dem Bild habe ich indirekte LED.
But I create paintings. Then I use LED lamps that light up the picture indirectly according to certain rules, and create a play of light that emerges at dusk and in the evening. But during the day, it's a beautiful picture, so it's equally attractive with or without light. I really enjoy doing it, and I've got lots of ideas for more artwork using this technique.
Sehen können.
Sicuramente formidabile con un uomo legato all'industria, alla produzione.
It's most unusual for a successful businessman to return to his earlier calling as a painter after so many years. And now Picchio is putting the skills he acquired over that time in industry to good use as a painter and artist. This new approach, Picchio's segmented vision of reality, combines transparency and light in an impressionist style.
At
Interroll, we feel inspired by this art, as indeed do our customers. Whenever I meet customers at our head office, they are fascinated by the paintings. Of course, it's wonderful when you can see the success and when you see that others, whether they are collectors or art lovers, get a kick out of what I make. That really is tremendous. Mind you, every time it's a part of my life that I have to say goodbye to. I suppose you do have to look at it that way, don't you?
Das muss man so sagen, ne?